Clergy talk, where faith takes flight.
Yeah.
And
And cheers, everybody, for having a sip.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Ash,
yeah,
what are you drinking?
I am drinking some, I forget the name of it. It looks like a bottle with a circus label on it, and it's a Petite Sirah.
Oh,
So cheers,
nice.
everybody.
Bold. Cheers. That is
Thank
a
you.
lovely wine glass, Zev.
Very much for having me. I do.
Oh.
The wine is definitely one of many nerdy things that we're into here.
It's very good for making friends.
Yeah.
I have not said this to anyone on the podcast before, and I feel incredibly nerdy saying this, but I am a big admirer of your work.
Why are we rolling now? You should say that on the thing.
Oh, we are now going.
Oh, we will.
I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
we are now going. I've obviously admired everyone's work, but I've not sat down and said, "Oh my God, thank you so much for being on here. This is so cool." I've admired your work for years, dude.
I am very honored, and we've been friends for a long enough time now.
Yes.
So
fortunately,
that's weird that you made that. Yeah.
I know. You're like, you're just now saying this, Ash. Good things.
I mean, it's hard to say it, but I am absolutely amazing.
I love it.
I think you'll find I do not know what to do with compliments. I get very confused. But
does it make you scared? I get scared.
Yeah, I think there's.
And I start apologizing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like this weird. It's this whole self-worth thing.
It's a threat.
We all struggle with.
So, with that being said, so you can fully absorb the compliment and your wine. How about Vita and I do a proper intro for you? So you just fuck me up, bro. So you just go ahead and sit back, have some wine, and we're gonna do a little intro. Let me have a little sip of mine first.
Cheers. Yeah, same. So I'm gonna do mine in a very cheesy way because I like doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're doing like a communion, right? This is like a.
All right. So I'm gonna have a little sip of my communion wine, and I will read the first part of your intro here, Zeb.
Let me know. Are we
going.
Start?
We're ready.
Oh, we're doing it.
Okay. All right, kiddos. So if you're a fan of the band Ghost, you've likely been mesmerized by the visuals of their music videos. Behind many of these masterpieces is Zev Deans, a director with a flair for the dark and dramatic. Over the last 15 years, Zev has crafted around 100 unforgettable music videos for numerous artists, including my personal favorite, the stylistic Square Hammer, to the cult classic He Is and dynamic Dance Macabre.
Starting with underground artists like Chelsea Wolfe, Liturgy, and Geneva Jacuzzi in 2010, Zev's unique vision has transcended genres and borders, reaching as far as Thailand and Poland. Is he laughing at me?
Yes.
I'm laughing at all of us.
I'm gonna make it even weirder. Hold on. Let me get the whole mic up so I can do my host thing.
There you go. Do it.
Reverb.
Emerging from the metal and goth scenes of New York and Los Angeles, he's brought his signature style, complete with conspiratorial Easter eggs and innovative low-budget techniques, to the entire music industry. Whether you're into metal or rap, chances are you've seen his work, and it's probably left you spellbound.
I should add.
You're welcome.
With that.
Those were big words, Ash. Thank you for that. After making me drink alcohol.
Part of that was Zev's fault because I think some of that's from his IMDb and stuff, and then I just put it into my brain and shit more out. So you're welcome, everyone.
This is gonna get goofy.
So I was talking about Square Hammer earlier being my favorite. That was what got me into your body of work, Zev, and from Square Hammer, for me, that set a precedent on how I wanted all of Ghost music videos to look. And so it was interesting when He Is came out, and I said this to Brendan too. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Gosh.
Yeah.
But then I watched it a lot and I loved it. It grew on me. It's fucking awesome. The whole storyline, everything. Vita, on the other hand, she loves your From the Pinnacle to the Pit music video with Madam Satan.
That was the first thing I had ever seen of Ghost. I was a go-go dancer at a gothic club, and they played the video and the song, and I was baffled because I know the film, I know the Cecil B. DeMille, and
Yeah.
I've always wanted
Yeah.
to make the Madame
I have
Satan
seen.
gown because I'm a costume designer, and I was
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck is this? This
In
is
a
a
good way.
bop.
Yeah.
So they're
This is
playing the
cool
video.
looking."
I got to stop you there.
Yes.
They're playing the music video in the bar, in the strip club.
Oh yeah, no, it's not a strip bar. It was a gothic
Go-go bar.
nightclub.
Okay. Okay.
Gothic nightclub.
Go-go
That we had
dancing.
go-go dancers on the dance floor
Right.
on like podiums.
So
Yeah.
you're dancing, and then there's music videos playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see why I thought that was strange. Now I understand.
No. It wasn't a gentleman's club, but it was just a gothic nightclub. And I went to the DJ and I was like, "What was that? That was so bouncy and weird." And he goes, "Oh, it's Ghost." And then he made me a little like compilation CD of some Ghost stuff, and it was so new. Like there wasn't really a whole lot of media. And then I'm just rewatching all this stuff, and then I started discovering other videos, and I was just like, "This is the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen. Like I need more of this."
This was after. This was sometime after. After it happened, after they came out, you discovered
Yeah.
it as like all in like a. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that was definitely established that aesthetic that Ash mentioned.
Mhm.
Square Hammer, like that's kind of when, and I was really just like trying to do Bialec's album art justice. You know,
Mhm.
he and I get paired up a lot with artists, and
Oh, I didn't know that.
they were. I think that was the first time I was paired up with him. I was already aware of his work, and I found out later he was aware of mine from Portal, and which another band we ended up working together on later. And yeah, I was just like really blown away by his work because I always am. And I was like, it has to bring as much energy as that. And like
Mhm.
he created a world in that. And I just very much wanted to sort of like dive into that world. And then, yeah, that's kind of how that aesthetic sort of came to be. And we ran with it for Square Hammer. And then, yeah, I
Did.
had complete freedom on He Is, and I had no notes at all. So like, I just
Ooh.
went completely different direction with that one.
You gotta play
That
around a
was
little
more
bit.
me, I would say. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
they're all me, but yeah, that was definitely like me satirizing my role in the Ghost legacy at that point.
It's pretty great. I'm from the South and from a very church organized township, and I felt like I was reliving childhood traumas of ridiculous stuff
Thanks,
watching
Zev.
the He Is video. Like, wow, this is freaking something, huh? Whew. That was this is very exactly that is like the truth of churches like that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Blind
it's
faith.
wild. God, it was wild. Like growing up in that, I feel like I'm still trauma dumping
What
from religion.
denomination, if I may ask?
So I'm from a tiny village in Central Florida called Vero Beach, and a lot of it was run by Baptist churches and tent revival jubilation congregations in the
Yes.
middle of the woods. Because
Precisely the vibe. Yep.
they were too crazy to have the state approve any buildings for them because they were like the people that worship snake
God.
bites and like venomous,
I
like
was
they
just
let
going to ask if
snakes
there were
bite
snakes.
them.
That's
They
like
would do that.
if you're not praying with a snake, you're not praying.
Yeah, and like whole families of pastors, like father, son, priests, they would all die because they thought that worshiping snakes, like God would heal them if they got bit, and they would just die.
So they might
I'm too excited, but it's just like fuck. Like watching these videos was like, no.
they might disapprove of where you went in life, but you chose a much safer
I think
form of
so.
worship, I would say.
I think so.
Like I mean it was probably a pretty easy transition too.
Mhm. Yeah, it was definitely incredible to see what could have been like a safe youth group dynamic in my township for like the kids, like just hang out on a Wednesday night and here's some snacks and we're just gonna like sing some songs. And we ended up with like a whole congregation building within it that was weird adults doing like the speaking in tongues thing on the floor. And it's like, look, we're singing songs by Oasis and we're just like eating cookies. What are you doing?
That's intense.
It was so weird to be exposed to that as a kid.
I'm a little
Zev,
jealous.
Zev, you play with a lot of imagery. I mean, you do a lot of Easter eggs, but also like in Square Hammer, that's there's a lot of Freemason symbols in there. Was that all you? Was that something that you were asked to put in there?
No, I mean I think that the song title itself is the right. So like I was already very immersed in that stuff for my own interests and my own Scooby-Doo style research and like weird book collecting, and he was very much coming in with the same obsession and interest, and I think he was already tucking it into all of his stuff, and so it was just a very easy collaboration where I understood where he was going, and I wanted to be even more like explicit about it. That's why like Pinnacle to the Pit is like, it shows footage from a French it's actually like a anti-Semitic propaganda video from World War II, but it shows in
Zev.
it's one of that was unrelated. What it shows in it is a full Masonic ritual and it's pretty unadulterated. Like it's this thing that is supposed to be never shown to anyone. Like someone recreated it to the best of their abilities, and so I just put a lot of those clips in there. And from that point on, Square Hammer was kind of a doubling down on that. But I guess, well, yeah, maybe a more subtle, actually. Yeah, it's more subtle, but not that much more. And subtle is not a thing they or I do. So I guess they use that word. But yeah, it's everywhere in all that stuff. And I still don't know. I don't think I ever talked to him about it, whether or not he like is one.
Apparently, yes. Apparently, he's a Freemason.
Oh yeah, do you know when that might have happened? Was it something?
Apparently, it's been a long time. There's been a few interviews with him where very early on he's spoken about it.
I see. Yeah. Well, that definitely makes
sense.
Sense.
A lot of the songs are about it.
That's why those albums keep selling.
Oh yeah, exactly. And you know what?
It's a conspiracy.
and it like blows my mind.
Like there must be something else. No.
What absolutely blows my mind is that you guys did Square Hammer in what was your apartment?
Yeah.
And there's
Are you serious?
Green screen. It's all in Zev's apartment in front of a green screen. It's insane.
Incredible.
Brendan and I had both, as any man between the ages of 0 and 40 does. We're pieces of shit in previous relationships, and we're newly single. and we were introduced to each other through a mutual friend, Zach, who's in Imperial Triumphant, and then Falterkammer with Brendan. And because I was looking for a place, I was looking for a roommate, and he was looking for a roommate. Hit it off immediately. This is an addendum to your previous podcast. I don't want to say the same thing twice, but like,
sure.
We got this loft together, and it was a lot of open space, and I just sort of turned it into a green screen studio. And
amazing.
I think Square Hammer is the first thing we did together, and it's the first thing we did in there. Yeah, and something I liked to do that Adam was okay with for both that and he is was, instead of like hiring extras, this is also cheaper. It's also like more meaningful is actually have ghost fans be involved.
Absolutely.
Which is how I met more collaborators for later things. But because they're really fucking happy to be there, they're gonna do their best.
Yeah.
They're gonna care.
The heart is really in that.
The heart's in it. They're gonna know things I don't know about it. Like that'll.
That's what I'm saying. Hire ghost fans to do stuff.
Hire ghost fans. We know what we want.
Yeah. I mean, he is.
We know all the little stuff.
We were so nervous we weren't going to get enough people, and he is like. We had a lot of people show up.
Yeah. A whole abandoned church full of people.
Yeah. People flew. It was free. Yeah. They weren't getting paid. They flew.
No, they will do that.
From out of state. So I was just constantly impressed and touched by the devotion there, and the willingness to sort of be a part of it and be patient. Like, shoots are a long day of an experience. Like, yeah.
Did you have a similar experience for Dance Macabre? Because that was a huge fucking cast of people.
Yeah, that was a much bigger one, and I think that was a no fans situation. I think. What can I say about this?
Say it all, Zev.
Yeah. So Tobias was on set for that.
Yes.
That was the first time I had met him in person before, but that was the first time he was around for an actual project. And I think because of that, that we were the producer. I usually, usually the budgets aren't high enough for me to hire a producer, and I'm producing them myself horribly. And this was a situation where we had a producer, and Kylie, and she's awesome, and she does a lot of stuff with that label. I think she did Rats as well,
Cool.
with Robert.
Nice.
Another person you need to get on here is Robert.
What's his name? Robert.
Robert Schober.
Got it.
He directed Rats. He directed Cerise.
Oh, sick.
I've been wondering
I know a
who
couple
did
of folks that
Cerise,
were in
so thank you, Zev.
He's excellent. Yeah. And yeah, that was a very clinical experience for me. If I had to give it a name that differentiates it from the other experiences, that was like, we're in the big time, and it's kind of weird.
Big
Yeah.
budget, big sets,
yeah,
big props,
I had
choreographers.
Yeah, and I think to that effect, you can see there's a line of demarcation between like the part of the video I feel is mine, and then like what they were kind of planning before I was even involved. I was kind of like treated like a director for hire on that, but I was honored because the person who wrote like the treatment and like had the idea was Jonas Ackerlund. And if you don't know who that is, he directed the Lords of Chaos movie about mayhem, and a ton of iconic music videos. He was, but more important to metal fans, he was the drummer in Bathory. That's what he started doing that, and then he started making videos for other metal bands, and then he made a video for Rammstein that hit it off, and then he ended up working with like Madonna and everybody. So he's kind of a legend. Oh, he directed Spun as well, another a really good kind of like a satirical, trashier Requiem for a Dream about meth instead of heroin. But
I remember Spun. That was a killer movie.
Yeah.
That
featuring Brennan's favorite actor, John Leguizamo.
It was pure insanity. That movie was unhinged, made me very uncomfortable.
Yes, a success.
As it was supposed to. It was about meth. Yeah.
So yeah, like, and also let me know if I'm talking too much, but
no, I was going to ask you, like, I'm really interested in your original concept for Dance Macabre. I know you had previously told me it's going to be a really short explanation, but I would still love to hear it.
I was brought in as a director for hire because they had the general concept already laid out, that there's this mansion and these guys infiltrate, and basically turns out one of them, it's the origin story of one of the characters. I don't remember how any of that works, but basically like they had been doing those narrative bits, those narrative shorts, starring Justin, and I feel terrible for forgetting her name.
Liz.
Yeah, Justin hits me up on Instagram, so I remember his name. But
yes,
he's adorable. They both are.
Yeah, they were wonderful to work with, and so that was all kind of already set to go. But I asked if I could have my way with the intro, and
have your way with it.
Enter Bradley, of course.
Fiddle with it.
Yeah.
Bradley.
So that's very much mine, and then and the titles, because I love titles, and then like the rest was kind of like it was a very big set. It was a very big crew for what I was used to at the time. And Tobias was there, Adam was there, Kirsten, the manager, was there. Like pressure was on. And so I did what I always do when there's a lot of pressure, is me and my boys create a sort of shell of protection, and
that's good.
do all kinds of mischievous things in that shell out of everyone's view, and then like come back on set. And just very much like I had a lot to drink, and I was very nervous. That's what I do when I'm nervous. And we got through it. We got through it.
Both, buddy. It's okay.
Yeah, it was a crazy day. It was a crazy night. Tobias is very excited by being on set, and that means that he's always coming up with new ideas when we're in the middle.
Oh boy!
And you're like, bro, it's 4 a.m.
and then I'm like kind of trying to balance that with like, does it make sense? Is it going to work in the edit? Everyone in the crew is staring at me with daggers because they just need to keep moving because they don't want to be here at 11.
They're just ready for a bathroom break.
Yeah. So I'm balancing all this, and I'm trying to make it good. So it was a lot of cooks in the kitchen, I think it was always going to be his baby, and I should have probably just been looser with it. But I definitely turned out great. I think the dance stuff was really fun. Justin
it's such a fun video.
killed it. They did such a good job. The dance team killed it. A lot of them are now doing very well. Like they were just really, really sharp people. Jasmine was the choreographer, who I've worked with on a number of things related to Loma Vista, and she's just so chill, and like she was a very positive energy on set. But yeah, like what else would you like to know? I'm just rambling again.
No, I love it.
So I understand that you had one storyline for that video, but then because of the excitement that was injected in, you had to kind of change a whole lot. What was you and what was Tobias's in that video?
I mean, really, the intro is very much mine. But it was still like loosely, there was an intro scene with like an entrance and them trying to get in. That was already written into the thing, but like I gave it some stink, and I really leaned into like Bradley and Brendan and Justin together. I really wanted to set up tension and play with like the fact that we got to do a little dialogue and sound before the song started.
He put some stank on it.
Yes, yeah, that's all I.
Just turned the reverb up. That's great. It was also supposed to be in a different mansion or different location or something, and then you're like, really, this white marble?
Yeah, I was. Jonas in his treatment had this awesome. It was a Frank Lloyd Wright building, and I think it's the same one that's used in like a Vincent Price, a black and white William Castle film with Vincent Price.
It would have been so cool.
I think it's House on Haunted Hill, but it's like this mid-century sort of like mid-century meets like Mesoamerican like stone. Very
that is a gorgeous mansion.
Looking. You know the one, yeah.
Oh yeah, because that's one of my favorite horror movies.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
It's very occult, and it's very ominous at night. And I think they picked this place because they had the connection. Like they had to be look at all these things. They made me really think I had like freedom of choice and agency. And then they just sort of one day we're like, oh, we were doing this one.
Just kidding. Yeah.
We're gonna do it at a Motel 6. Good luck.
That would have been awesome. That would have been 666. That would have been fantastic. I could have worked with that. This was like so aesthetically. There was a lot about it that kind of got out of my hands. Aesthetically, I would say, if I had to really talk about it. Like,
I mean, it did end up all coming together and working, you know, and I imagine it was a lot of pressure having the director of the band there, you know, and having Loma Vista's creative director there. I mean, that's a lot of pressure, but you pulled it together, man, and it's fucking awesome video, and you really helped introduce us to Justin and Liz, you know, who are just really cool, iconic characters. And I know you worked with Justin later. Was it a Denzel Curry music video, or was it different? Yeah, I'm trying to remember what video that was.
It was a video for some build a band from Sony. Let's say that. And
remember he was wearing a suit. Really like
that lack of information makes it unsearchable. He's awesome in it though.
Oh yeah,
he's great.
Awesome in everything.
He had that Agent Smith vibe for that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah.
Because he's got this he can be very handsome and he can be very severe. You know.
I don't know if I could picture him being serious.
You should.
He can be very serious.
The magic of acting.
Send me a link. Maybe I'll check it out. I know him as like a goofy, like little cute little Disney Prince type. He's very cute.
Oh yeah. That's his actual personal. Yeah. I mean, Him and Liz absolutely like are the center of that and made it work. And like Brendan and Bradley added that sort of like rock and roll feeling to it. And
layers.
And I was just really nervous the whole time. There was this I brought the nervous energy to set. There was a scorpion loose, Tobias Sparta's daughter. And
there's a scorpion.
I remember someone I like it was like a movie. Like we were waiting for them to set up the jib for a big like sort of sweeping shot with the dancers. And I looked down and like his daughter's like sitting on a little chair and she's tiny, very cute, and like her feet are dangling off, no shoes, and she's sort of swinging her feet all like happy, and this fucking scorpion just walks by underneath.
Oh my god!
like we move her, And then like, yeah, just like weird things like that.
Save the child! Save the child!
Um,
Take me instead.
yeah. He did not tell her to put her shoes on. After that.
Oh my
There are
gosh.
some
I'm
kids that are just
kidding.
not having it, you know.
Kidding, Tobias.
Uh,
I don't know who watches this.
So Vita, you mentioned Disney princes earlier, and so that
Mhm.
kind of evokes imagery of this white suit from
Oh
He Is
yeah.
that was
This is
recently up for sale for thousands and thousands and thousands
hilarious.
of dollars, thanks to
Wait till
Zev
I had
Beans.
a few drinks in.
Oh my gosh. So
Are we doing all the like fucked up stuff first? Because that's fine.
We're doing all the
we're gonna
fucked up
play
stuff first.
around. We're gonna jump around a little bit because this got out of hand. This got out of hand in a way that I was just sitting here, a costume designer. I do costuming for a living. I'm sitting here watching this saga play out and the amount of face desking that I had done, just like, what is going on? So there is a beautiful costume in the He Is video. It is a white suit with this gold lace. It's stunning. There's gold shoes. It's very Prince-like.
Zev's like, I know,
And
I want
speaking
on Amazon. It's like, yeah.
speaking of it,
Well,
yeah, speaking of it being Prince-like, it's a bagged costume on Amazon. It's a bagged costume.
yes.
It's a
I
bagged
have
costume. You look for white Prince costume. You can find this thing.
Boom. Yeah.
It's under $100. You just need like a tuxedo shirt to wear with it. Bam, your papa. So
But it
it was one of the first things I had ever acquired in my little costume collection.
Same.
And I had worn it to the Whiskey A Go Go event that Ghost did like in February of last year. And people thought that it was Tobias, which was really funny and also very flattering because
Yeah,
I
the
didn't know my
mask on
ass
and
looked that
everything.
great in white pants. I had a mask on it. You couldn't tell it was me. Nobody knew it was me.
You're
And
saying Tobias is a better okay. than any woman? All right.
well, he works out and I don't. So
Right.
anyway, so it went viral that somebody was wearing that suit at the Whiskey, and it was just like oh, I should wear that more. We actually put Justin in the same suit for an event that we had done. Ash and I have done a photo shoot, both of us wearing that
Wearing the white
costume, and it's
suit, yeah.
even more obvious that this is a costume you can purchase on the internet.
Yeah.
Somebody in a Ghost merchandise group offered up the costume and expected
Thanks, Zev.
thousands of dollars for it. I'll start the bidding at whatever. And it was an absurd number. And I'm sitting there like, but you can buy this costume on the internet. It's like mass produced. And in the caption of the auction piece, it was like, this is not mass produced. This is legitimate, like designed for the one and only. And I was just watching this like, what? What? And I show it to her. And she's also like, wait a minute. And then like 30 cosplayers all posted photos. Oh, you mean this personally exclusive handmade custom piece?
Yeah, tailor-made.
And it's like, here's a link to it if you want to buy it. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about, guy? What are you doing? And I even contacted the head of the merch group, like, hey man, I have some unfortunate news.
So I've got unfortunate news for you. So was it an Italian guy?
No, it was like
you're not
somebody
privy
has
to
offered
this
this up, and
story.
it's a private seller who acquired it, and it's like that is
Who
really
claimed-
cool if
who
it's the
claimed- who
actual
claimed it
one,
was real, right?
right? Yeah, and it's like that's fine, but it's still a costume. It's a back costume.
Well,
So
I
if,
think
so
what
if it
she's-
was real, that wouldn't change anything. That wouldn't change.
No, it is.
story,
No,
like,
It
I
would,
know
yeah, of
something-
course.
Should I
So
leave
I-
it alone?
I think
Oh.
her focus is that the guy said
It
that
was-
it's a one-of-a-kind suit, but it's not. But we
Right.
also know
Yeah.
that Brendan's balls were in it, and that
Yeah.
Tobias wore it at one point as well. So
Mhm.
we're aware of that. That
So you
that
do
wasn't
know
her focus. Her
that it
focus
was-
It was
oh, it's a
it was
one-of-a-kind.
sweated in authentically by people that are
So that
sought
part is
after.
understood. That
That
was
is understood, yes.
more than likely from the thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I can understand that adds value.
yeah,
I can appreciate a musk.
yeah. No, I wasn't saying that it should or shouldn't. What I was saying was, like, did I get away with murder because everyone doesn't know that I sold all that stuff out of desperation at some point?
No, but I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing that that the whole thing it blew up internationally. People were slapping down a credit card like, I have $5,000 for you right now, and it's like, wow.
Yeah. So did it go up? What did it end up? Like,
I
don't
think it
know.
ended up selling for close to $8,000.
8.
Mhm.
$8,000. I know you're
I
like,
think
"Can
that
I
was
get
the
that back?"
final. I think that was the final bid. Was
It
$8,000.
was $8,000. Okay, yeah.
I think, yeah.
No. I just was wondering if you heard something insane.
No, the
This
expected
is like
cost I
if I
think
had
was
bought Apple
6 to
stock.
7,000.
This is like if I had bought Apple stock like at the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like how I did it. I
Yeah.
I sold that to probably that same person,
Mhm.
hmm
probably a year after, maybe even less. That big loft that Brendan
hmm
and I lived in was very expensive.
Oh, I
Ooh.
bet.
Public knowledge, yeah. And Adam's already like, yeah. There's no damage being done by me telling these.
No.
But yeah, so in New York City, as is true anywhere now, rents are terrible.
That's terrible.
And I was at the time a lowly music video director, and I lived in a very expensive loft. Eventually, Brendan moved in with his partner, and I was like, I can handle this by myself, no problem.
Too
And
expensive.
I learned the hard way that it was a lot harder than I thought it would be.
hmm
But I think I didn't know if that's where this was supposed to go. We can stretch this a
Absolutely.
little bit. Yeah,
This
good
is where it's
stuff.
supposed to go. I would like to hear the story, please.
So I don't know if that one is real, but there is a real one out there.
Right.
Yeah,
It could have been and it could not have been. It's a hilarious thing that happened, and some people were super skeptical. Like,
because you
it's
can't
just that
just
the
get it off.
photos,
You know.
yeah, the photos of the offerings, you could still see the Amazon packaging on some of these things, and it's like, are you making this up, or is this like
Ah,
legit? And
so
nobody was
it might have
questioning
been.
it.
It might have been bogus anyway. So I just admitted
Yeah.
to another part of that story without having to. Is what you're telling me.
Mm, no, it was just very
Classic
funny.
Jeff.
Like, the original Amazon packaging was visible in the photos for what they were offering, and it was just like, what are you doing?
So I did not
I could
send
have done that.
Yeah, the packaging would have been thrown away like the moment I got it. Oh, this
Right?
actually might help. I don't know because how much money is embroiled in this situation?
A lot.
We're
Mm,
learning every day.
mm.
Doing a
Uh,
great job, guys.
Zev, you mentioned that you have a story about the mask too. I would love to hear about that, and then I would like to talk to you about the industry and other stuff beyond ghosts.
Yeah.
What did I do and what drove me to do it?
Yeah. What
In
happened
that
with the
order.
mask that you had in your possession? The Papa Three mask, excuse me.
I was a young boy. I mean, yeah, not much. I guess 9 years ago, 2015, 20, yeah.
Was it
Yeah.
Time, well, no, even after that. Yeah, same thing. Very, very, very expensive rent, the same place. I was still there. And I was like threatened by a landlord, and I was in New York, so I probably didn't have to take him seriously. I probably would have worried less had I known more about the situation, because he was renting that place out illegally to begin with.
It's our secret. Don't worry.
Yeah, and it ended up in the Post actually.
Oh
But
shit.
yeah, so being a foolish young man and being desperate and in a situation where I thought I had like no options because I was just panicking. I wasn't thinking. I had this mask on me that had been sitting there in a cardboard box for over a year. I had assumed that the label had forgotten about it. It was like a Papa mask, Papa 3. And this is so embarrassing, guys.
It's okay.
It's like I talk about it openly, but then like actually talking about it and like thinking about all the people who love the band and like love, like it's just, it's embarrassing. But there I was.
You told me that you wanted to tell this
Yeah,
story, so
I
I'm
did.
sitting
I
back and
did. I
letting
want to come
you. Yeah.
clean. I want to come clean.
Come clean, Zev. What happened, buddy?
Yeah.
We're here for you.
No, I just I was in a very sort of desperate place, and I like it was again, I'll say this a lot. It was like a movie. I had sold those other things that are now like being disputed, the Amazon stuff, and someone at the label, for someone from the ministry caught wind
Oh.
and gave me a call. And so they didn't. Yeah, I'm telling you in the wrong order. this kid approaches me, this like mask collector kid, offers me a very low sum of money that I accepted because I was desperate, and I put it in a box. I ship it off. I'm like 10 minutes after I ship it off, I get a phone call from the ministry, we'll call it.
Oh gosh.
Just like who's caught wind about the other stuff.
Oh.
And he literally said, so yeah, just like, and like, that's all right. That stuff was yours. Like, you didn't know, like, just send me the mask back. Cause they were asking about it.
And you had just mailed off the mask.
Yeah. So,
Zev.
So I call the kid up, and he's immediately resistant. It's like I had just put it in the mail, and I look at flights to Mississippi, and I imagine myself intercepting the postman, like,
oh my God, that is like a movie.
the FedEx guy, and this it was like the kid kept putting his lawyer dad on the phone to like tell me like what's fair is fair. There was no convincing him, so I was really like this close to flying there. And I'd already made it clear how like, you know, this was like very much a private deal, like, and I think I even said something to the effect of like, on paper, like, if you breach our privacy, you have to return it, and you know, like, the sale is null and void. He emails their manager. He involves himself, and I'm kind of it's a relief at this point because again, wonderful people all around Tobias. But yeah, it was this really dark, embarrassing time, and it was hilarious, and every moment of it felt like a cartoon because it was so silly. It was like immediate justice, you know. But yeah, like being this desperate place, like I just panicked and did something stupid, and like, yeah, never did that again.
Well, I mean, you also had this stuff for so long.
They had changed characters, you know.
Yeah, there was a new Papa. You've had this stuff for, you know, over a year at this point. So I honestly, I would have done the same thing. So I mean, I can understand that. And it's not like you're this huge Ghost fan and you're, I'm gonna hold on to this. Like I completely understand that.
It still had value to me in a lot of ways, like, and it was still something that like I knew was wrong when I was doing it. And I think that I was just in such a place that none of that, all that went away because I had more like very visceral concerns at the time. This will be a fun podcast.
This is,
and that is, I usually tell that story. I actually usually tell that story with a lot more like it's a funny story. I usually like describe the kid as like the evil kid in Pee Wee Herman's Big
Francis.
Francis, yeah. But that's making it sound like I'm a victim, and I wasn't. You know, that's making it like, I think now that I'm like, you know, I guess I'm in confession if we're doing like the church themes. Like,
you have two nuns listening to you.
Yeah. I think that's what's happening right now.
You were going through a tough time at that moment. At what point did things change for you though?
Never.
And this is why you're burned out on the industry, and we have these talks a lot about this.
I'm kidding. What? Yeah. What do you see that I don't? I'd love to know if I hit it big. I had a couple of good years after that for sure, and I can't. And the years after those were fine. I definitely don't feel. Yeah, I think like. What was your question?
When did things start to go on an upswing for you after you had those low points in your life, which we've all been through?
I hate to attribute it to the ministry, but the ministry is related to this answer.
Yeah.
Because I was estranged after I did that. You know, I was excommunicated from the church for a bit.
Oh no!
Just for a little bit.
And I'm not talking about Ghost. I'm talking about the ministry, as you put it, the broader label. And they were kind of like, you know, I had all kinds of interest and connections with other bands and genres of music, but like that label was kind of my gateway to sort of a higher tier of production and exposure, you know. And so I thought I was done with them. I thought I'd like burnt that bridge. And then they kind of came out of nowhere. And then I had like the best year of my career. It was literally out of nowhere. I hadn't spoken to him at all. And I assume some director just like bowed out of a project last minute.
I see.
I got a phone call and I launched into a real winning streak.
Good.
We did one that went viral that right away for Denzel Curry, the rapper, and then
that was a good music video. Very good.
Yeah, that was a big one, and another Brendan
Mm-hmm.
one, and then yeah, just a succession of ones after that. I think COVID slowed things down and things got quiet with them specifically, and I've just kind of like, yeah, but like that was definitely 2018. I would say was like the peak.
You've worked with Brendan a lot, and I know that he's in your inner circle. You guys are really, really, really close friends and work together as much as you can. And I know you've got to have some awesome like behind the scenes stories of working with Brendan. You said that you guys would get in trouble a lot, and do you have any fun stories?
Thousands. There's so many just from the videos that Ghost fans would know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll work my way up to that.
Sure.
One of the wildest things that happened
Mm-hmm.
was around that same time. So came of us sort of having a connection to Detroit and people in Detroit. I think the first video I did in Detroit was for Cannibal Corpse.
Cool.
Aww.
And yeah, it's a very sweet one. A lot of.
No, I love those guys. They're huge where I'm from. I'm from Tampa.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes. The cradle of
the cradle of the metal.
Absolutely.
They're good boys.
I mean, they're sweethearts. Yeah. And this was our first one for them, and it's a slasher video, of course, and we've got like a nice slasher narrative tucked into it. And so I've got Brendan and Sam in these sort of like full body sort of white jumpsuits covered in blood, and they're like,
yes,
it was a pun, Cannibal Corpse.
Sure.
So it was like a company, and the idea is that it was driving around and like murdering people, collecting their meat, and then selling the meat at a grocery store.
See, cute.
I love that concept.
Yeah, because like they have a sense of humor. The band has a sense of humor. They were in a fucking for a movie, so like I wanted to sort of have it be sort of satirical. So it's like kind of becoming dusk, and we've got this van, and we've got Samantha and like Vila and this guy Travis are all sort of like they're running from Brendan and Sam and they're driving after these kids, and we kept we like sort of like rehearsing our like first stabbing, and we've got these big stupid plastic knives,
as you do.
We're on the street like and we're fucking fake blood everywhere, like broad daylight in Detroit. School. And across the street, a car pulls up, and we hear like this commotion. It's a man and woman fighting, scream like very loudly. The tone is about to change drastically for this story.
Do it.
Tell me more.
We're shooting, and we're just kind of like stopping. Like it sounds bad. It sounds like getting violent, and faster than we could register. The woman tries to get out of the passenger seat. The man grabs her, pulls her back in. And I swear to God, we all see this silhouette. It looks like he's stabbing. She goes quiet, and the car drives off. No one like Samantha's trying to get the license plate. And we're just standing there, these stupid white kids from New York, like covered in fake blood, shooting a fun like stabbing like horror movie in Detroit.
Oh my God.
This real fucking shit happens right in front of us. And we just stand there for a minute and like, All right. Anyway, right back to
You're like, did that really happen?
It was
guys?
completely surreal.
Business as usual.
Yeah, it was
Oh my
totally
gosh.
totally bizarre, and like we were running out of light, so we like we tried to get the license plate. We tried to do what we could. We couldn't do anything. We kept going. It was I don't think I've ever felt more absurd doing what I was doing than in that moment. Just like the very thing you're emulating and doing this silly sort of parody of is like happening in real life, and you didn't get to change it or stop it or anything. Like,
that is intense, dude.
Yeah,
That is wild.
that same maybe an hour later. So like the characters are wearing the assailants are wearing night vision goggles.
Mm-hmm.
Sam and Brendan, and so I've got Sam. We're rolling, so we need to see everything. It needs to be real. So Sam's driving the van with night vision goggles on, and he's supposed to drive up onto the curb. The kids are running in front of him, and he's supposed to hop. Him and Brendan are supposed to hop out and then like run after them, and the camera stays put. Because he's like locked in the commotion of everything, and he can't see what's going on. Whatever the chaos of it is, he doesn't put the van in park, and he jumps out of the van. The van just drifts off gently onto this woman's front yard and right into the tree.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Outside and says, "As long as y'all are okay, it's fine." Like,
bless her.
I was gonna say, bless her heart.
Yeah,
bless her.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
I feel like any shoot I will be able to procure stories from, because I
can't wait for interview part 2.
Yeah, I
just for the next one
to have like as fun. Like fun friends and like people who seem like they're going to become friends. Like that's who I like to work with. There's everyone's talented to varying degrees. Like you might as well have them be people you're going to like. And so like I've always had these projects feel more like adventures. Really, it's very important to me.
You had an insane music video for the band Portal, which I watched again today. I've seen it multiple times just because it's fucking insane. I mean the song's great too, but the visuals
I just watched
in
it too.
Oh my god, it's so,
wild.
Like it evokes a lot of like I have little like nerd bumps right now going on right now. I was wondering, can you dissect that video a little bit for me? It stars Bradley Bailey, who we talked about. He was in Dance Macabre. He was also in he is as one of the Clergy members, I think. He's been in multiple things of yours, obviously, but like, can we talk about the mask and the concept and the big hand that comes in? Like, what is happening in this music video? Everyone needs to go watch this. Everyone needs to watch it. It's really freaking cool.
I'm very pleased that you feel that way, and
I love it. Like I said, I got like nerd goosebumps going on.
It's the kind of thing that like bands, when they come to me, always ask, like, "Can you do that again?" And I'm like, I don't think you.
I know you're all.
And then I did it for nothing. I had a full-time job. Music videos were my hobby. I was doing them off hours, and so like that was a project where I didn't get much money from the band, from the label, but I loved the band and like sought them out to work with them, convinced them to work with me. And then like, I just put tons of my own energy into it over like 9 months.
Wow.
And, I had a studio, so I like could build things and leave them there. And, I mean, I had been pitching some kind of miniature. I was a visual artist before I was a music video director. I did everything: drawings, printmaking, installations, performances, sculpture, and then miniature sculpture. And I was pitching every artist I worked with from the beginning of my career to do a miniature related video. They were the first ones I convinced. So that's how that happened. And I just spent 9 months in a dark hole, sort of losing my mind. And Bradley spent a good bit of time with me on that journey. When he would visit from Detroit and from LA and from all the places he lived. But yeah, taught myself a lot of stuff. I try to teach myself something new each project. That project, that's
cool.
Taught myself a lot of things, including how to make like a latex mask, just like every detail in it. Like it was the first time I worked on something and like if something wasn't perfect, I'd like tear it apart and start over. It's the most work I've ever done for something, and I feel like I should have never stopped working in that way, but it's just so unrealistic to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all the props you made, the miniatures, the models, all the stylistic stuff that you did, it looks really time consuming. You can see that in the music video. I've never seen a music video like that before. I've never seen a movie like that before. It's very
Shit.
like,
I mean, I feel like Tool, like at least.
well, there's the one with like the little guy that's like
little guy.
I don't even. He's like a little puppet guy tweaking, like with his arms
he's tweaking out.
around.
Yeah, like Sober, I think. Yeah, Sober or Prison Sex, like the two early ones.
It's similar, but yours is way darker.
That's wild. I feel like mine came out looking like some kind of like slightly darker Nightmare Before Christmas or something. like that's the first thing I see when I like there's things in it that I definitely see, and I'm like, oh, subconsciously I was like coming from like Jack Skellington with that one. Like,
oh my god, I don't see that at all, but that is hilarious. Yeah. And Bradley was perfect for that, by the way.
Incredible.
He's I was just good. Watching him going, oh, this was perfect for him.
He's so good at his physical acting and his grace with it, and to the point where like people, I didn't correct people. People would often think that the whole thing was stop motion and that there wasn't
it has that vibe
in it. That's how believable he was with his performance. Yeah, what a waste.
I know. Yeah, he's definitely missed. Beyond.
That's how we first really like bonded and started talking was Bradley.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. And you also realized who my brother was too, and you're like,
yeah,
your brother's Justin Bartlett. Yeah. You're like, I'm a huge fan of his artwork. I was like, oh yeah, that's my brother.
Yeah. I've got vinyl. I mean, he's a legend.
Oh yeah, legend. So that was a cool bonding moment too.
Yeah.
We were just discussing how with every music video you teach yourself something new, especially with the Portal music video, that you had to really like get into these minute details of, oh God, how do I execute this? And then dismantle it if it wasn't working. Are there any trends that are going on right now? Are there any like fun things that you're seeing in the music video industry that have got you excited? Like something you're looking forward to potentially doing? Something you're seeing someone else doing that you're liking?
I wish I watched more music videos that are that are happening at the same time as me. I think that like the big thing everyone's scared of, but is also really interesting to experiment with, is AI, and that's something I've had some experience with.
That's a really tough discussion point.
Tricky one.
It's also something that people talk to death at the moment, and like. Whereas like so much of what I've done in the past and where I went ahead is like kind of more related to like practical effects and traditional film techniques. And that's what I get really excited about because that's where craft and artistry really come into play. But as far as what the kids are up to, I don't know really. I hope they're being safe.
I hope the kids are being safe.
I hope they're being just safe enough and still having fun. But kind of like very hermetic when I'm working on something, and like I'm usually watching very old movies as opposed to like a new show. Like I kind of try to keep myself as unaffected by the zeitgeist.
Yes, thank you. This is what I wanted. Yes.
Because I really like being a grumpy old man. Because I'm having a conversation with like a different sort of timeline, I feel like. And I love the stuff that is happening right now. It's wild and it's like very intimidating and very like, but then like, I meet those people and they're like really down to earth, and like, so it's a very positive thing. I think I could like list like directors I'm really into that are contemporaries, but I think most of them are my age or maybe even a little older. In some cases they're younger, but yeah, like, that's a long way of saying I don't exactly know what's going on out there, but then I do. So I hope I butchered that enough.
I'm seeing a little bit of a return to I don't know how to describe it. You're a director, so you would know, but like guerrilla music video filmmaking and like vigilante like kind of thing, like how you were just describing how you're just out on the street and obviously you don't have a film permit or anything. And I'm
Rarely
seeing
have those. Yeah.
I'm seeing a
Yeah.
return to these kind of music videos, and I really enjoy that because I grew up with music videos like Beastie Boys, Sabotage,
Mhm.
where you're like, me and my friends do this music video together, and it's awesome.
We're just in a van.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that
it's
probably
so
had like
fun
10
to return
permits
to
and was
that.
like a 6-figure budget easily, but yes.
But it doesn't have that.
Spike Jones.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that kind of vibe to it, which I like. Because
Yes.
there's these big music videos being made for a long time, like massive sound stages and huge budgets, and it just seemed like they had poured millions into these music videos, and now it's like things are going back to a smaller scale. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
because of
I'm so glad that that's
COVID
happening, and
or what, but
I'm just so glad that I never had the chance to have $1 million budget. I'm really glad that that never happened to me or any of my contemporaries.
would that have turned out like totally insane if you got everything you wanted
Oh
for the music video?
man.
It's funny. I almost, you can keep this, but I shouldn't say it. But like
Oops.
the same artist, I did like a video for one budget, and then like we nailed it, knocked it out of the park, and then we did a series of other videos after that. And like the more expensive it got, like the worse I did. But I was also
Oh
new
no.
to this. I would argue that like later I actually like figured out how to handle bigger crews and things like that.
You have to get really creative when you're on limited means.
That's the classic thing is resistance.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
like my first real job in New York was an internship that became a job where I was working for the artist Matthew Barney. He was like married to Bjork, and
Nice.
he I was in the art world before the video world, and
Oh.
very much fell into it, music videos. But I wanted to be an artist when I came to New York, and when I worked for him, his whole thing was like all of his work was in the service of like simulating like biological functions, muscles being the biggest one. His whole thing was like you know restraint is what causes a muscle to grow. That's what's
That's a good phrase.
So I feel like yeah, you look at any Marvel movie and you'll see like how terrible a big budget can be. Like when you have no restraint or
No limitations.
yeah, you just kind of like the thing topples over itself. You know, it's the weight of its hubris. But I
That's
think
so
that,
true.
yeah. But then it's funny because then you brought up like what are some trends, and I kind of went blank. Honestly, like one of the things I'm most excited about is like K-pop videos.
Oh, they're so fun.
I have not watched
There's so much
one.
chaos.
Yes,
I've not
that's
watched
money.
even
That's
one,
a lot
guys.
of money. You know, that's like very real money. Sound stages, like heavily, intensely planned out stuff. I got to do something similar to that in a smaller scale last year in Thailand, where the artist wanted to really like he was like obsessively devouring K-pop videos, and I hadn't really given my time. I hadn't really watched any yet. And when he approached me, he was a big fan of the Denzel Curry video, and his music was like this sort of dark pop. He was like this 21-year-old kid who had watched more K-pop videos than like he just consumed media so heavily. So he had me on this diet of K-pop videos, and we ended up editing the video together, where I'd edit and he'd be on a Zoom with me, and it made me better. It was just like there's such a wild, frenetic energy to those videos, but it is so heavily planned, and it's made to feel effortless the way it flows. But it is just it's terrifying how advanced it feels watching that stuff. Yeah.
I do enjoy watching when there's so much movement and texture and color. I'm not a huge K-pop fan. I don't have like a favorite band, but I do love watching the music videos when every now and again I think a Taemin video comes out and his stuff is just so moody and so weird. And it's like, this is just one little guy.
Yeah.
And there's like snakes and explosions and a bathtub and fog and just one little guy.
I just want stuff.
There's so much stuff. I love stuff.
Well, that's something I definitely resonates with me with that work, is because I consider myself a maximalist, you know, like
I love maximalism. You can't tell from this, but my whole room, I'm surrounded by tchotchkes and I love it. I need chaos around
everything
me.
I can see in your frame, you put effort into it. It looks good.
Thank you, darling.
I believe
He does.
I believe you.
Thanks.
You know what? I just remembered that I would like to talk about Tommy Wiseau
Hi. Hold on, let
before
me
we
go get
say
it.
goodbye to
Hi,
you.
everybody. Yeah.
What a guy, though. His story is so weird.
So you
I-
did a commercial with him, and there was a tiger. Can you
Oh,
please
hi,
tell
Tyga.
our viewers
That
about
never
this?
made it to
So-
the edit.
Okay,
I have to know.
I'm going to start at the beginning, which
please
allows me to
do.
name drop so much.
Do it, please.
Really, what this is
Give
about.
it to us,
all the
yes.
beef,
Uh, and
please.
and it all of it,
All of
everything
it.
about this, and the reason I got so close with Tommy Wiseau comes back to Ghost. It
Okay,
comes back to Square
What?
Hammer.
perfect.
I was
Okay.
minding my own business in the cold, crisp day in fall 2016, hot off the heels of the Square Hammer video, being a big success. And I saw an email. It's the kind of email you see, and it's like it's everything you've ever wanted to see in your inbox, and you just ignore it because it doesn't seem real. You don't trust it. You don't trust reality. But
You
it
have
was
to go have a drink about it.
yeah. It was some guy. It was some guy with the email signature 20th Century Fox at Black, and he was like,
Holy shit.
and it was like the heading of the email was, "Are you on the square?" And and then the email asked, "Are you a wolf? Are you an X-Men guy or an Aliens guy?" And I was like, if this email's real, I'm going to answer honestly. I'm an Aliens guy. I'm a Giger guy, and
Yep.
I worked with his Giger's estate, and like I had all these personal connections to it. But I just answered it, and then like thought nothing of it, and went about my day. And then I got another phone call that evening after I gave them the information they asked, and it was like I was like having dinner, and then I get a phone call, Beverly Hills, right? And I'm like, oh, I better take this. And this 20th Century Fox was about to release Alien Covenant within a year, and they were looking for
Oh.
artists to make alternative promo, like make their own cool content related to the Alien universe. And this guy who worked
Wow.
for Fox was a huge Ghost fan, and so he tracked me down.
Oh,
Noah is his name. He's a wonderful, wonderful man, and he's a huge Ghost fan. And he brought me on board. I got to make a short film. I got to have Ridley Scott approve my, or at least his team. I never spoke with the man.
lazy.
My idea and my storyboards and my xenomorph design, and like it was a fucking dream come true. We shot a short film. It's how I met my current cameraman, Christopher Raymond, who's done like all the big videos that I've done. Has been him. So he's responsible for a lot of Ghost stuff, but he's also done so many things with me. It was a dream, and then like I was very strategic about the premiere. I knew that I'm sorry, probably a longer story than you were bargaining for.
No, I love it.
We're here for it.
Yeah. Okay. So they're gonna have the movie premiere at Chinese Theater, and I sort of like planned this other project I had. It's like a Chelsea Wolf video to shoot on around the same time. So I'd be in town when the premiere happened.
Right.
Mhm.
And then I told Noah, I was like, hey, I'm going to be in town. And he gave me like a ton of comps, a ton of plus ones. I had recently ordered the Blu-ray of The Room from Tommy Wiseau's website.
Nice.
I didn't forget what the story was about. And for your question,
I did not forget what the story was
I
about.
did not.
and I just said, and I, when I ordered the DVD, I got in the mail back in return for just ordering the Blu-ray, 3 pairs of Tommy Wiseau underwear and a headshot that he signed to me. And I realized this guy probably does this for anyone who ordered this. What a sweet gesture. He probably said yes to a lot of stuff. I had a couple of, I had like 3 plus ones. Bradley was one of them. He came with me to the movie, but I had 2 plus ones left. So I just cold emailed his website saying, hey, I'm involved in this thing. There's the premiere of Alien Covenant. Ridley Scott's going to be there. The actor's going. Would you like to go? Would you like to be one of my date? And immediate response from his assistant Raul, and then like Next thing I know, I'm meeting Tommy Wiseau in the lobby of the Chinese theater. He's got his chain wallet. He's
God.
got his sunglasses indoors, and I get to watch the worst alien movie with Ridley Scott in the room, Tommy Wiseau sitting right next to me, giving commentary live. It was a dream.
God.
Is he really like that odd in person? Is he like a method guy, or is it all just like?
So
Is he like real with you?
Tommy, I am not comparing you to R. Kelly, but what I'm saying here is that I always wondered about when I saw Trapped in the Closet. If you've ever watched that,
Yeah.
have both of you seen Trapped in the Closet?
Yes.
Music video?
Yeah.
It's like a hours long.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
then no, I haven't. I just saw the music video.
Bits and pieces, I remember.
Someone should be on Tangent Watch because I get really out of hand. we're 3 points removed from the original question.
No, this is fun.
I'm not going to lose track. Trapped in the Closet, for all of you viewers, stop what you're doing and don't order it on Amazon. Get the DVD. Because not only are you going to watch 3 unbridled hours of like insanity, I mean utter insanity. I mean, R. Kelly had a contract where
I remember
he was going to do all these albums for the label, but in exchange they would back and fund whatever project he wanted to do. And Trapped in the Closet was that project, and it was a 3 hours plus odyssey of just mental illness.
And they made fun of it on South Park ruthlessly.
Yeah, and
oh God,
the DVD extras. So much more there than meets the eye. Anyway, like
so much more cringe, huh?
You watch. So you have DVD commentary, right? Like you rewatch the movie and you hear a voice over it. That's not what he did. DVD commentary for Trapped in the Closet. You are in R. Kelly's home theater with a camera pointed at him. You're watching him watch the thing.
So it's like a react video.
Well, he smokes a cigar and he seems surprised, genuinely, by the plot twists starring him. Incredible. Anyway, I always wonder
Tommy Wiseau
and Tommy were like these like Andy Kaufman types. If they were
right, I always think that it's just like an Andy Kaufman thing. Like this is just this method character because I work around weird vaudeville type stuff and I work around immersion. And when you're in the building, you're just on and it's nonstop. Even if you're in the green room or in the bathroom or like talking to the bathroom valet, like you're always on.
Yeah.
It has to be an act, right?
To this
I
day,
don't think it is with Tommy
Wiseau.
No.
I don't know.
Some people just get really lucky, I guess.
I think I'm safe to say I honestly can't answer that question. I've come to know him. And I've been able to catch him at random moments in phone calls where he's answered right away. Like either it's whatever it is, it's absolutely magical, and I wouldn't change a thing about it.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Then you did.
I just want to run into him in a grocery store and just like catch him off guard. Like, oh,
he will. Yeah, that'll happen, and then he will say or do something to catch you off guard. He's full of surprises, and there's no one. It's not like he's in on the joke. It's like he's beyond the joke.
He's like just serious
for making a joke. Like you feel like I was like I thought this was funny, and like this is art.
I have to admire the dedication to the bit if it is an act. And if it's not, that is the luckiest guy on the freaking planet. Seriously.
Why? Because he's so cool.
He's just so freaking cool. Everybody knows who that dude is. He's like killing it.
He's a legend.
It's incredible.
And he's been making movies constantly ever since. Like
I want to see him do like an Instagram live where he just goes ta-da and just like wanders off. Like that's I'm waiting for the punchline.
There's probably some ad revenue he could get out of that, but he says he's also very picky. Like I've come to him with stuff in the past. Like Ashley was going to bring up this commercial, this thing I'd recently done with him.
Mm-hmm.
I had pitched a couple different things to him in the past that he just was like, don't feel free to come to me with other things, but this doesn't sound right. This one, like he's discerning, and so I felt really special when he said yes to this. But I'm pretty sure I know why he said yes to this one. But yeah, I think he's a big fan of Ryan Reynolds, and
Aww. We love Ryan Reynolds. He's so silly.
And he's also probably a big fan of money.
Well, yeah.
I mean, who isn't? Yeah.
But this was same guy, same Ghost fan buddy Noah. Now works with Maximum Effort, which is Ryan Reynolds' ad agency, and yeah, he knew I knew Tommy.
That is so.
It all comes
cool.
together, and it all stems from Ghost. How sweet!
It does all stem from
That's
Ghost.
so funny.
It's like I thought I was just doing a music video that first time, you know, and
Look at it now.
It got me. It brought so many wonderful people into my life.
Oh,
Sent me all over the country, and got me out of relationships that were bad, got me into relationships that were good. Like, you know, as reluctant as I am, I have a lot to thank Ghost for.
And now
Same.
you're sitting here with these two assholes.
You're yeah. I mean, if you're assholes, you're hiding it well. You're not good actors as well.
well, it's the booze.
Yeah.
It's making us charismatic for you.